Hello, Sagittarius. Welcome to your June 2023 astrological forecast. For those of you who are new, my name is Jane. So let's go ahead and take a look. Now, June, as we make our way into June, the sun is already well on its way in through Gemini. It will make its way through Gemini and then on into Cancer. So for you, this is going to be 7th house and 8th house activation. Mercury is going to be a big part of this as well. Mercury is starting to move really, really fast, and he's going to move super fast through Gemini. And so he's kind of adding to a lot of the 7th and 8th house themes. Now, 7th and 8th house does have a lot to do with other people, relationships, sharing resources with people, how it is you're working together. And sometimes when we have a lot of 7th or 8th house activity, there can be a lot going on for the other people. And sometimes that shines a light back on us. And it gets us to really think about what achievements we want to go after and what ambitions we have. And hopefully there's a way to find balance and support. So you can be supportive of them, they can be supportive of you, and the two of you can each go after your own individual ambitions together and run in parallel paths, which can be really good and healthy for everyone involved. Mercury is going to really facilitate. Now, Mercury officially comes into Gemini on the 11th. So we still have a few more days before that happens. He's going to finish out this transit in Taurus. And I think at least he's speeding up, but I think he's really tired of being in Taurus. Okay, Taurus is a little too slow. So when he does come into Gemini, it is like straight out of the gate, really fast, like someone just hit the starter's pistol, all right? And he's gonna want to get things done. He's gonna wanna get creative. He's gonna wanna go have fun. He's gonna wanna talk about stuff. You know, he's gonna want to do what he does when he's in a sign of rulership. There's gonna be a lot of movement, a lot of transition, a lot of flexibility here. And for you and your partnerships, this can be great because if there are issues that you need to address, this is going to be a really good time to address them. And chances are you'll be able to find good solutions, good compromises, or you'll be able to move forward appropriately in a way that serves both of you, which can be wonderful. This does not have to be romantic partnerships. I just want to say that. There are a lot of other types of partnerships that come through in the 7th. Sometimes it can be like an employer or a client or something like that. Usually it's someone with whom you have some type of an agreement or an obligation or commitment. Okay, so if it's not romance, that's okay. It might still be accentuating another area of your life. Okay, so there's that's going on, which can be good, but it also, I think, makes you question a lot in your life, and you might be doing a lot of reconsideration. Now, we have some retrogrades that we need to contend with throughout June, and we also have Venus. Now, Venus is not in retrograde in June, so I just want to be really clear about that, but she is going to come in through her pre-shadow phase. So once she hits the 12-degree mark of Leo, this begins pre-shadow, all right? So she's preparing. So we're going to see a lot of the preparatory things that are going to come through. We also have Mars in Leo as well, so there's a lot of Leo activation, 9th house activation. So there's freedom that wants to come through. There's expanding your consciousness, expanding your mind. One of the things with the 9th house is it can be somewhat abstract. All right. It's not necessarily a house of logic, right? This is a house where we talk about God and the creator, and we talk about philosophy and ethics and morals and law and the philosophy behind the law, right? So it's not always so hard and fast fact. There's a lot of philosophy. Okay. So I think our minds are willing to wander, or your minds, not me, I'm not a Sagittarius, but your minds are willing to wander during this time. Your minds are wanting to expand, you're wanting to grow spiritually, or in terms of any type of education that you're pursuing right now. If there are career pursuits, this is probably a time where you are wanting to inflate that investment a little bit and saying, I want more for myself. I want to go out and I want to accomplish as much as I possibly can. And I think that drive and ambition will absolutely be there. Not to mention that Mercury coming through Gemini, who wants to move, that can be supportive of that. There might be a lot of movement for Sagittarius during the month of June, maybe a lot of travel, maybe international travel for some of you. I certainly do think, though, that your one-on-one relationships could be really positive and provide insight, because I think you're also reconsidering a lot in terms of your life path. And one of the culprits of that is Saturn down here in the 4th. Now, Saturn is going to be retrograding on June 17th. So next couple of weeks, he is going to start to slow down. In fact, he's already kind of starting to slow down. So we're going to start to feel that inertia of Saturn, this big, powerful planet, starting to kind of come to a halt. And being in that 4th house, as it reflects up here toward the 10th, there is a lot of consideration of, are you matching your insides with your outsides? That's kind of what I like to say with the 4th and 10th house. Does your inside, your heart, inside your soul, inside your very being, is it in alignment with what it is you're doing, 10th house, what it is you're contributing to the world, your public life, your career, what it is you're putting out there? And sometimes when Saturn retrogrades like this, there can be a lot of internalization of Saturn. And we tend to take things very seriously. Now, I don't think this is going to be a time where Sagittarius is going to, I mean, you could be making big moves like quitting and moving on or something. But generally speaking, I think you're going inward and saying, how can I be better? How can I improve? How can I stay on this track to some degree and create this life that I want, that I'm craving this expansion toward? And it goes inward, and you start to hold yourself accountable, and you start to really see what's going on inside of you. Saturn through the 4th can be an especially psychological transit, because we do go back to our past. We go back to our roots. We go back to where we came from and all the things that our parents taught us and our culture taught us and our education and our governments and our societies, right? All the institutions that had a say-so in how we were raised. And we ask ourselves the question, does this serve me or not? Is this helping me or not? Is this in alignment with my soul or not? And I'm not saying, like I said before, not to repeat myself and to be annoying about it, but I'm not saying you're going to be making big, huge decisions. In fact, actually, perhaps maybe Saturn is saying, no, you need to hang on. You need to keep going. You need to keep trying. And with Jupiter in the 6th house, I often say the 6th house is a house of self-mastery. It can be a really tough house, but it can also be a place where we go to work on ourselves a lot. We go to heal, but not just to heal and keep living the same life. It's here where we really change. You know, we don't let things get in our way in the 6th house. We say, an idealized version of myself would actually do X, Y, and Z instead of A, B, and C. So we find a way to do the X, Y, and Z things. Saturn retrograde in the 4th house offers that sense of self-discipline. So I do think Sagittarius is in a pretty substantial, like, self-improvement, quote unquote, period of time right now, wanting to be the best that you can and wanting to live up to your own expectations, not necessarily those of other people, but the expectations that you have of yourself. And perhaps some of those things is what's being reflected back through partnerships. Their achievements might make you want to achieve as well, just for your own sake. You know, especially if you have reached a period where things have just been like kind of flatlined. Someone might be inspiring you to be the absolute best version of yourself. And this is something that you personally do want to live up to. And as we move into Cancer season, the sun comes into Cancer. Mercury will join him shortly thereafter. And then we're going to have a Neptune retrograde. So as Cancer season begins, Neptune is basically not moving. So there is going to be a lot of emotional stuff that comes out. When the 8th house is active and illuminated by the sun, this is often an opportunity for us to shed some form of our identity and to re-emerge a different person. Now, there is a lot of, I don't want to like make it so magical. 8th house, yes, there is a lot to do with other people's resources. If you have like debt or anything like that, this might be a time when you're like feeling the heftiness of that debt, especially things like credit card debt. If it's not like a good, smart debt that you're using and leveraging in appropriate ways, there's a practical side to the 8th house as well. So I don't want to completely discount that. There could be something going on with the finances of your spouse if you're married. There could be something going on with just their life that doesn't necessarily have a lot to do with you, but it does because you're in their life, if that makes sense. But generally speaking, from a more spiritual approach, that 8th house is really where we dunk under and then we come up revitalized, we come up reinvented. So Sagittarius is moving toward a period of reinvention in whatever direction that's going to go over the next few months, not just through June, but through July and August as well. One last thing I forgot to mention was this Pluto. Now, Pluto is already retrograde, so that's not a surprise. But on the 11th, which is the exact same day that Mercury moves into Gemini, on the 11th, Pluto moves back into Capricorn. Now, one of the things about this particular retrograde that I'm just really going to hit home is the fact that this is one of those moments where the past might come back up, because that's Capricorn has that tendency to want to keep things that are already dead alive, right? So it's going to resurface that dead stuff and it tries to conserve it. But this is an opportunity not for you to get distracted, not for you to get held down by anything, but merely for you to kind of self-assess and say, look at how far I've come. And this might be something financial as it's activating the 2nd house again. But it's really like you realize how different you are. You realize that you're not held back by anything from that past anymore. You're going to feel really far away. Even if it's like someone literally on your phone, right? They're on your phone, they're in your face, and yet it feels so far away. It is so far back in your past that I don't know, I think it's a reassuring moment. I think this Pluto retrograde is going to be reassuring for us as individuals. There's going to be other global stuff going on, but as individuals, it's a moment of reassurance and validation that you've made the right decisions, you're on the right track, and that it is okay to let go. Now, this process might take a while. Pluto retrogrades back into Capricorn 2 different times over the next couple of years. So this is his first retrograde back into Capricorn. Next year we'll have the same thing. So, it's a slow release, but it is a release nonetheless. Okay? All right, Sagittarius, I'm going to leave you with that. Thank you so much. You guys know how much I love and adore you. Have an amazing month, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.